windy mountaintop with a clear blue sky without a single cloud, Tommy and Rondu stood amidst majestic nature, enjoying the beauty of a perfect day. Warm rays of sunlight shone down, illuminating the surrounding scenery, and the fresh air seemed to be permeated with the scent of wildflowers. It was an ideal setting for a lesson that would mark the beginning of Rondu's deeper understanding of martial arts. The perfect day for training. Tommy, with sharp eyes and a face full of determination, turned to Rondu and said, "Today I will teach you the Fire Dragon Fist and how to create internal power for yourself." Rondu nodded, his eyes filled with determination and readiness to learn from his master. Tammy continued, "Fire Dragon Fist has 9 fists. We will start with the first fist. Watch closely." Having finished speaking, Tammy stood straight, legs shoulder-width apart, eyes closed in concentration. In just a blink of an eye, he poured his internal power into his hand, causing his palm to glow as if there was a fire from inside. With a powerful punch from his right hand, Tommy threw his fist towards the Zeep steel statue. The sound of the collision was as loud as thunder, echoing throughout the space. Rondu felt the power through that echo, filled with excitement and anticipation of trying this martial art. Tammy instructed Rondu on how to channel his internal power. Internal power can be described as a stream of crystalline energy spreading from your center, through each muscle, from your shoulders to your arms. It is like the excitement of a river, transporting energy from deep within the earth to the surface of the water. Muscle contractions and impulses are like small waves spreading out from the center of the universe, bringing power to every small movement of the hand. Do you understand what I say? The first attempts. As an intelligent person, Rondu quickly understood and tried to apply. He took a deep breath, feeling the flow of energy starting from the center of his body, gradually spreading through every muscle fiber, then focusing on his fist. Rondu threw a punch towards the steel statue. Tommy frowned and said, "You just used physical strength to throw a punch. Use your concentration, breath control, and body flexibility combined with your strength. You can throw a punch stronger than the first punch. Let's try one more punch." Rondu closed his eyes, took a deep breath, focused his mind, and calmed down. This time he felt a stronger flow of internal power, like a river of energy flowing rapidly within his body. He opened his eyes and threw a powerful punch. The steel statue retreated more than half a meter, leaving a clear mark of internal power. Tammy clapped his hands and smiled. "You did it right." He continued to perform the remaining 8 fists, each move clearly and gracefully, like an artistic performance. Rondu stood ecstatic, his eyes never leaving Tommy's every move, memorizing every detail to learn. The 9 fists of the Fire Dragon. Tommy's movements were fluid and powerful, each fist carrying a distinct energy and purpose. He explained each one in detail. The first fist, a direct, powerful punch that harnesses the initial burst of internal energy. It's the foundation of the Fire Dragon Fist. The second fist, a sweeping motion that channels energy from the ground up, creating a powerful upward strike. The third fist, a focused, piercing punch that concentrates energy into a single point, capable of penetrating the toughest defenses. The fourth fist, a circular motion that builds momentum, delivering a crushing blow with centrifugal force. The fifth fist, a rapid series of strikes that overwhelm the opponent with speed and power, utilizing the rhythmic flow of energy. The sixth fist, an uppercut that combines gravity and internal power, creating a devastating impact. The seventh fist, a spinning back fist that uses the body's rotational energy, striking with incredible force. The eighth fist, a sweeping arc that targets multiple points, creating a wave of energy that can knock down several opponents at once. The ninth fist, the culmination of all the previous fists, combining speed, power, and precision into a single unstoppable punch. Rondu watched in awe, each fist a lesson in itself. He understood that mastering the Fire Dragon Fist would require not just physical strength, but also a deep connection to his internal power. The journey begins. That day, on the top of a high mountain in the vast space, Rondu began the journey to discover his own internal power under the dedicated guidance of Master Tommy. The beauty of nature around them seemed to mirror the beauty of the martial art they were practicing, creating an atmosphere of harmony and balance. Tommy continued to guide Rondu through the intricacies of each fist, explaining the importance of breath control, focus, and the seamless flow of energy. Remember, Rondu, The Fire Dragon Fist is not just about brute force. It is about channeling your inner strength and merging it with your physical movements. Each fist should feel like an extension of your spirit. The path to natural internal power. Tommy continued, when you gradually get used to the Fire Dragon Fist and practice internal power every day, you will no longer waste time using internal energy. Internal power will come to you naturally without forcing. I will show you how to increase your internal power. Now, follow me. He motioned for Rondu to sit down. Close your eyes and sit in a comfortable position, focusing on your breathing at a fixed point. Do this for 10 to 20 minutes every day to reduce stress and increase concentration. Most importantly, breathe in deeply through your nose. Hold your breath for a few seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth several times a day. When inhaling, let the abdomen expand instead of the chest. When exhaling, the abdomen contracts. This method helps to circulate air better and calms the nervous system. The initial struggles. Rondu did as Tommy said. At first, practicing internal power with this method was not easy. Every time he tried to close his eyes and concentrate, Rondu's mind was lost in confused thoughts and his breathing could not be adjusted. However, with Tommy's patience and dedicated guidance, Rondu gradually felt the difference. Every morning, under the gentle sunlight shining through the window, Rondu sat quietly on the mat, closed his eyes, and breathed. He took deep breaths through his nose and then slowly exhaled through his mouth, his belly rising and falling with each breath. At first, his breathing was still a bit messy, but over time it became more regular and comfortable. It felt like a cool stream flowing through his body, bringing silence and peace. Rondu felt the internal power gradually spreading in his body, like a smoldering but powerful fire. Finding inner peace. There were times when his concentration reached its peak. Rondu felt like he was floating in endless space, all stress and fatigue gradually disappearing. Moments like these not only helped Rondu improve his ability to control his inner strength, but also brought an inner peace, helping him be ready to face any challenges ahead. Thanks to Tammy's dedicated guidance, Rondu not only learned how to exercise his inner strength, but also discovered a new path to finding stillness and strength within himself. Training the foundation. Once Rondu got used to training his internal power, Tommy moved on to ask him to train his strong legs to withstand the terrible attacks of one or more opponents. In Tommy's opinion, feet play an extremely important role in martial arts. If you still have legs, you still have a chance to win. If you have broken legs, you will definitely lose 100%, he emphasized. Tammy and Rondu went down the mountain and found a stream flowing quite fast, with water up to half their bodies. Tammy said, "Stand here following the method I taught you. Stand firmly and don't fall." Rondu stepped into the stream, feeling the cold and fast-flowing water surrounding his body. He tried to stand firm with his strength, but the powerful stream still carried Rondu away. Tammy spoke up, "To stand firmly, use your internal power." However, the result remained unchanged. The stream continued to carry Rondu away. Perseverance and training. After many days of persistent practice, the stream no longer carried Rondu away, but he still could not stand completely. Tommy was dissatisfied and asked Rondu to continue practicing. Day after day, Rondu had to face the harsh challenges of the stream. Every time he fell, he stood up, trying to use his internal power to steady his body. Every morning, as soon as the sun rose, Rondu stepped into the cold stream. The rushing water seemed to want to push him away, but he focused on breathing deeply, feeling the internal power spread throughout his body. Every time he fell, he stood up, felt every flow, every push of the water, learning how to use his internal power to resist them. Overcoming the challenge. Finally, after a week of arduous training, Rondu was able to stand very firmly in the rushing stream. No matter how strong the current was, it could not shake him. Tammy stood on the shore, watching and smiling with satisfaction. He knew that Rondu had overcome this harsh test. His legs were now as strong as ancient tree roots, ready to face any attack. Rondu felt a change in his body. His legs were now not only a tool for movement, but also a solid foundation to help him confidently face all challenges. He knew that, thanks to Tommy's perseverance and dedicated guidance, he was one step closer to becoming a true martial arts master. The importance of internal power. One evening, as they rested by the fire after a long day of training, Tommy spoke to Rondu about the deeper aspects of internal power. Internal power is not just about physical strength, Rondu. It is about connecting with your inner self, understanding your body, and controlling your mind. When you master your internal power, you can achieve feats that seem impossible. Your punches will be stronger, your movements quicker, and your endurance greater. But more importantly, you will find peace within yourself, a peace that will guide you in all aspects of life. Rondu listened intently, absorbing every word. He realized that his journey was not just about becoming stronger, but also about finding balance and harmony within himself. He knew that this path would require dedication and discipline, but he was ready for the challenge. Advanced techniques. With his newfound stability and understanding of internal power, Rondu was ready to learn more advanced techniques. Tammy began to teach him how to channel his internal power into specific strikes and movements. They practiced various forms and sequences, each designed to enhance Rondu's control and precision. One such technique was the Shadow Cloud Kick, a powerful move that combined speed and internal power. Tammy demonstrated, his leg moving in a swift arc that seemed to cut through the air. Focus on your core, Rondu. Let the power flow from your center to your leg. The kick should be swift and powerful, like a gust of wind. Rondu practiced diligently, his kicks becoming more fluid and powerful with each attempt. He could feel the internal power flowing through his leg, enhancing his speed and strength. Tammy watched with pride, knowing that Rondu was making significant progress. The art of defense. In addition to offensive techniques, Tammy emphasized the importance of defense. A true martial artist must be able to defend as well as attack. Your legs are not only for striking, but also for evading and blocking. They practiced various defensive maneuvers, focusing on agility and balance. Rondu learned to shift his weight quickly, avoiding strikes and countering with precision. Tommy stressed the importance of staying grounded, using internal power to maintain stability and control. One of the key techniques was the iron wall stance, a defensive position that provided maximum stability and protection. Rondu practiced standing firm, using his internal power to absorb and deflect incoming attacks. He could feel his legs becoming stronger and more resilient, capable of withstanding even the most powerful strikes. The raging stream. Rondu stood on the bank of the raging stream, a determined expression on his face. The water roared past, wild and untamed, as if it held the power to sweep away anyone who dared to challenge its flow. He stared at the churning waters, his mind focused on a single thought: I can do better. The memory of his previous attempts flooded his mind. The stream had always been a formidable adversary, testing his strength, willpower, and endurance. But today was different. Today, he was driven by an unquenchable desire to push his boundaries to see how far he could go. He clenched his fists, feeling the surge of internal power coursing through his veins. I have to test my limits, he decided, his voice firm and resolute. Without hesitation, Rondu stepped into the stream. The icy water bit into his legs, but he stood firm, feeling the force of the current trying to unbalance him. He focused inward, drawing upon his internal power, the energy that had become an integral part of his training. His muscles tensed, and he began to walk against the current. The stream seemed to fight him with every step, the water rushing past as if determined to knock him off his feet. But Rondu remained as steady as an iron wall, his will unyielding. He planted his feet firmly, each step a battle against the relentless force. At first, he couldn't move. The water's resistance was overwhelming, but he gritted his teeth, knowing that today's progress would fuel tomorrow's success. Rondu's internal power surged through his body, every muscle fiber coming alive with strength. He took a slow, deliberate step forward. Gradually, his steps became more confident, more assured. The stream pushed against him, but he pushed back, his will stronger than the water's force. I think that's enough for today, he finally said, satisfied with his progress. He turned and walked back to the bank, the cold water receding as he stepped out of the stream, his body tingling with exertion and triumph. Consistent practice. The next morning, Rondu was back at the stream, his determination as fierce as ever. He knew that true strength came from consistency, from challenging oneself every day. He stepped into the water once again, feeling the familiar rush of cold against his legs. This time, he moved with a new sense of purpose. He walked gently upstream, his internal power guiding him, his steps steady and controlled. Day after day, Rondu returned to the stream, each time pushing himself a little further, a little harder. The water, which had once seemed an insurmountable barrier, now felt like a familiar adversary. His internal power surged like a hurricane within him, propelling him forward, his body moving with a grace and strength that belied the effort it took. With each practice session, his confidence grew, and soon he could walk up the stream comfortably, his internal power and physical strength in perfect harmony. A new challenge. After more than a month of relentless practice, Rondu felt a sense of accomplishment. He had mastered the art of walking upstream, but he knew he could do more. He felt the need to push his limits even further, to test himself in new ways. "Today, I have to make a breakthrough with a new method," he declared to himself, his eyes shining with determination. With a deep breath, Rondu stepped into the stream once more. This time, he decided to run upstream. He started slowly, feeling the familiar resistance of the water. As he accelerated, he felt his internal power flowing into his legs, giving him the strength and agility he needed. He began to run, his feet splashing through the water, his body moving with incredible speed and precision. The stream seemed to come alive around him, the water splashing up in great arcs as he ran. His breaths came in rapid bursts, mingling with the sound of the rushing water. He pushed himself harder, feeling his internal power surge within him, his legs moving with a speed and strength he had never experienced before. Each step was a triumph, each stride a testament to his unwavering will, a witness to greatness. Coincidentally, at that very moment, Tami was passing by. He paused, his eyes widening in amazement as he saw Rondu running upstream. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. "Your limits are no limits," Tami whispered to himself, unable to tear his eyes away from the scene before him. Tami stood silently, watching his disciple confront the forces of nature. He felt a deep sense of admiration and inspiration. Rondu's steadfast will and extraordinary internal power were a testament to the human spirit's boundless potential. As Tami watched, he realized that true greatness came from within, from the courage to challenge oneself and the determination to keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles. Rondu, with his iron-like will and unwavering resolve, had proven that people could overcome any challenge. His journey was far from over, but he had taken a significant step toward realizing his true potential. As he continued to run upstream, his internal power surging within him, he knew that there were no limits to what he could achieve. All it took was the courage to test his limits and the determination to keep pushing forward, no matter how difficult the path.